A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about India-Russia bilateral ties. Obviously, any editorial that deals with the relations between two countries, what could be the broad framework? They may touch the trade aspect, energy aspect, and the existing problems, how to sort out. This is a broad framework. Let us start with the question, what is enrichment? As usual, you improve your comprehension skill, your vocabulary. But today, the editorial, an easy one, though a lengthy one. The words are very simple, easy. We have got many a time. Grammar, effective English, mini mocks, and this right now I'm not bringing. These days I'm not bringing. Let us go to editorial vocabulary. What is the first word here? Tradition. Part of speech noun, meaning the transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generation or the fact of being passed on in this way. Tradition is an important word because based on this you can learn a few important concepts. First one, Occidental means Western. Second one, Oriental. Oriental means Eastern. Oriental cultures are traditional and more spiritualistic, and Occidental societies or cultures modern and also materialistic. So these two terms are very important: Occidental, Oriental, Western culture, Eastern culture. And when you take Eastern culture full of traditions, and these traditions, generations down the line, they are passed on. Look at the example. Every year, our family follows a tradition of making a special meal for Thanksgiving. But this goes more with Christianity. Any culture, any society, definitely we come across traditions. Custom, practice, here practice is a noun. A ritual, convention. Innovation, modernity, change, novelty. Novelty means something new, innovative. In the real sense, they don't go with this, the word tradition. The second word, reaffirm, part of speech verb. It's a regular verb. To state again as a fact, assert again strongly, state something again as a fact. The president used the meeting to reaffirm his commitment to environmental policies. Regarding environmental policies, he wanted to reaffirm, means he wanted to state again or assert again, or in a way you can think of the word emphasize. Reiterate, I use this quite often. Reiterate means to say something many a time, to stress something. Confirm, assert, restate. Deny, contradict, renounce, retract. Not exactly opposite words in a way. Coming to the third word, tenure. All these words are easy. Today, in my opinion, many words are easy words. Tenure we use when we talk about the president, the prime minister, the chief minister. How long is the tenure? Means the time they're going to be in power. The period of time a person holds a position or office. Example, during her tenure as CEO, the company saw remarkable growth. When she was a CEO, the company saw remarkable growth during her time, her tenure. Term, incumbency, we have got many a time. Occupancy, service. Unemployment, discharge, dismissal, layoff. Not exactly. But here this word is important. Incumbent prime minister, incumbent chief minister, the one who is in power. Declining also we have got many a time. The word decline means a verb. Decline is a verb. go down in numbers, quality, standards, and we can use the verb ing form as an adjective. Based on that, here it is an adjective: declining numbers, declining quality, becoming smaller, fewer, or less, decreasing. Look at the example. The declining population of bees is a concern for environmentalists. Today, around the world, the number of bees is going down. The declining numbers are a cause of concern. Environmentalists are worried because bees help in pollination. If the number goes down, it is going to make a tremendous negative impact. Diminishing, an important word, decreasing, waning, shrinking. Of these, one or two may be important. Those you have to remember at any cost. Increasing, growing, rising, improving, simple words. Fallout. Fallout can be. Again, I would like to say good morning to all of you, but already I started the session at 9. A few words you have missed, continue from here. Fallout can be a phrasal verb, can be a noun. It can be used as a noun. Here, noun means what? The adverse, negative side effects or results of a situation. Because of something, you see negative impact or negative consequences, then we use fallout. Look at the example. The economic fallout from the pandemic has affected businesses worldwide. This is a fact no one can deny. The impact of the pandemic has affected businesses worldwide. And based on that, we say the economic fallout means economic impact, consequences. Look at the synonyms. Aftermath, an important word. Consequence, repercussion, an important word. Benefit, advantage, blessing, gain. Not exactly, but in a way they come under antonyms. Perch, usually it goes with the birds. A bird is perching over there. A place where someone or something rests or sits, especially a high or insecure one. Look at the example, you understand. The bird was sitting on its perch, singing cheerfully, perhaps from a story they have taken. The bird is perching over there, means sitting on the branch of a tree. Ledge, an important word you have to remember. A roost, an important word. Seat, resting place, simple words. Ground, bottom, low point, floor. Not exactly. Not too many words, hardly 7 words, I suppose. And let us go to the editorial. Start with the question, what is the stimulus? I have been telling you guys, why should you watch this session? Why should you read the editorials or the headlines or the newspaper? When you do that, you improve your comprehension skill. A reading comprehension skill is extremely useful when it comes to competitive exams. And all these editorials are written based on a particular stimulus. Old traditions, new ties. India and Russia, they have been friends for so long, and traditions are there. Annual summits and new ties, new problems, new directions, on the importance of India Russia partnership. What is the main idea? Narendra Modi must try and convince Vladimir Putin to end the Ukraine war. There is one important helping verb. What is it? Here it is must. I've told many a time. We use must, it has two functions. One, it is used to express an obligation imposed by the speaker, here the editorial. Second, it is used to convey the idea something is compulsory. So it is about the Prime Minister must try and convince Vladimir Putin to end the Ukraine war. Easy to make out. But what is the broad framework? Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Moscow on Monday reaffirms, emphasizes, or reiterates an old tradition of holding annual summits between India and Russia leaders. What is this old tradition? It is nothing but holding annual summits between India and Russia leaders. And the Prime Minister is going to visit Moscow on Monday. It reiterates the same thing. with Russia his first choice for a bilateral visit in his third term. He also breaks a tradition. Break a tradition, an important expression you have to remember, that Indian prime ministers travel to neighboring countries on their first standalone visits in a tenure, indicating the importance of India Russia partnership. What the sentence says, Indian prime ministers, when they get power, when they form the government, usually they visit the neighboring countries. But the present incumbent prime minister has broken the tradition. Instead of visiting a neighboring country, he is going to visit his first visit during his third term. He is going to Russia. He has broken a tradition. What does it show? Why has he broken a tradition? It shows the importance of India Russia bilateral ties. The 22nd India Russia Annual Summit, which one is this? So far, 21 over. The one that is going to happen, 22nd. The 22nd India Russia Annual Summit has another first. Fasting is what? Breaking the tradition, not visiting the neighboring country. One more is there. Has another first. What is that? The first Modi Putin meet since the Ukraine war. Ever since the war started, this is the first meeting between Modi and Putin. That is another first. The 21st summit was in Delhi in December 2021, just before Russian President Vladimir Putin launched special operations on Ukraine. The last meeting they had in way back in 2021, in the month of December, in Delhi. The 21st summit was in Delhi in December 2021. When was it? Just before launching the attack, launching the war or going in for war with the Ukraine. Just before Russian President Vladimir Putin launched special operations on Ukraine. Since then, the two leaders have met just once. Have met is present perfect active voice. Just once at the SCO summit in Uzbekistan, where Mr. Modi had stated that this was not the era of war. Had stated, here the reporting verb is in past perfect. Based on that, present change to past was, this was not the era of war. This was not. He must have said this is not the era of war because everything has to go with discussions and deliberations. Russia's growing dependence on China as a result of the war is also a concern for India given tensions over the LAC. War is a concern. It has made a tremendous negative impact all over the world. A lot of people have been suffering. Besides that, coming to India specifically, there's another concern. What is it? Because of this war against Ukraine, Russia is slowly leaning on China. Based on that, Russia's growing dependence on China as a result of the war is also a concern for India, given tensions over the LAC. We all know India China LAC, line of actual control. Tensions are always there. Now, Russia moving towards China, it adds to more tension. While there will be a scheduled framework of talks on bilateral issues, between two countries, anytime there is a schedule, there is an agenda. And here it has to talk about that framework, broad framework. While there will be a scheduled framework of talks on bilateral issues, as I said, what are the issues they're going to touch? One is a trade or business. Second, energy relationships, very important. Space cooperation for Gaganyaan and declining but substantial defense supplies. Four areas have been mentioned. One is trade, the other one energy, and the next one space Gaganyaan cooperation. And also Russia has been supplying weapons and there's a decline in that substantial defense supplies. There will also be an opportunity to take stock of the war in Ukraine. Besides all these, they're going to assess what is the current status of or the present scenario when it comes to the war. Apart from its impact in Western sanctions on global security, and shortages of food, fuel, and fertilizers, India has been worried about its fallout on defense deliveries and spares from Russia. What is the impact of the war? Impact of Western sanctions? Apart from, besides its impact in Western sanctions and global security, here its impact means the impact of the war and Western sanctions and global security and shortages of food, fuel, and fertilizers. India has been worried. Again, present perfect. One more problem. What is that? Worried about what? Its fallout on defense deliveries and spares from Russia. India has been depending on Russia. Now, because Russia is more occupied with the war with Ukraine, obviously they may not be able to supply, and that is a cause of concern for India. While an attempt to make in India has made headway again, present perfect active voice. Headway means a progress. Has made headway Russian assault rifles and India Russia BrahMos missile. Concerns over the reliability of supplies and the payments issue will need discussion. There are two things we are going to discuss on the defense front. One is reliability of supplies. That is one thing because of the in the background they have the war with Ukraine. Second dimension, the payments issue will need discussion. They have to discuss these things as well. New Delhi's concern over Indian recruitments by the Russian army is another issue officials indicate. There is one more problem. What is that problem? Today, because of the war, Russia is recruiting Indian youth, and that is also cause of concern. New Delhi's concern over Indian recruitments by the Russian army is another issue officials indicate. The second part talks about now everyone knows the world has been divided. On the one side, we have Western allies, the US and its allies. On the other hand, we have Russia and a few communist countries. Looking at that background, what is the stand taken by India? Above all, Mr. Modi's visit sends a geopolitical message, given the contrast to another summit in Washington. There's another summit in Washington. There, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the leaders are going to meet, and Mr. Joe Biden is going to address those leaders. There's a geopolitical message given the contrast to another summit in Washington. On Tuesday, US President Joseph Biden will welcome leaders of NATO countries for the Transatlantic Grouping's 75th anniversary. It talks about the summit. There's one important expression here, transatlantic. Trans means across, transatlantic. We also say pan, across, this side and that side. The US president is going to welcome leaders of North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries for the Transatlantic Grouping's 75th anniversary. With Ukrainian President Zelensky and Indo-Pacific leaders who are part of the Western sanctions present, it will be a show of strength supposed to demonstrate Russia's isolation. When all these leaders meet representing North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Transatlantic, the grouping, along with those leaders, Ukrainian President Zelensky, it shows that they are trying to project a particular thing. What is that? Russia is being isolated. Demonstrate Russia's isolation. Mr. Modi has attempted a balance with his presence at the G7 summit outreach in Italy last month and meeting Mr. Zelensky and later sending an official delegation to the peace conference in Switzerland. Now it talks about the stand taken by India. The government has also shown its enduring commitment to last for a long time, enduring commitment to traditional ties with Russia that stem from the 1971 Soviet Union Peace and Friendship Treaty. There is a particular treaty. Since 1971, we have ties with Russia based on a particular treaty. That treaty, 1971 treaty. And these two sentences show the contrast. On the one hand, it shows that India wants peace and it has attended G7 summit and met Ukrainian President Zelensky also. But on the other hand, India has a very strong relationship with Russia. It wants to show that enduring commitment towards Russia based on 1971 treaty. How could it show? By refusing to condemn the war at the UN and other multilateral forums while continuing to engage with Russia bilaterally and at groupings such as the SCO, BRICS, and the G20. On the one hand, it attends these meetings or forums, but at the same time, it wants to show its solidarity with Russia through these international platforms. All eyes during Mr. Modi's visit will then be on how he uses India's a particular multipolar, unaligned perch to further the cause of dialogue and diplomacy and help hasten an end to the conflict that has divided the world. When he visits Russia, all eyes will be on something. On what? How he is going to use India's multipolar approach, multidimensional approach, unaligned perch, not aligned. We have not taken sides based on that not aligned or unaligned perch. Here, perch means a particular stand. To further the cause of dialogue and diplomacy and help hasten means speed up an end to the conflict, the war that has divided the world. So how fast he can find a solution, how he is going to, what he's going to do, we have to wait and watch. All eyes will be on that. It ends on that particular note. Let us go to questions based on this particular editorial. First one, why is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Moscow significant in terms of tradition? Why is it important? It is his first international visit ever, not correct. It reaffirms the tradition of holding annual summits between India and Russia leaders, yes. It breaks the tradition of Indian prime ministers visiting neighboring countries first in a new tenure. This is also true. Based on that, what is the answer? B and D. Very good. Perfect. When did the last India-Russia annual summit take place before the Ukraine war? Clearly mentioned in the passage in the month of December 2021 in New Delhi. Based on that, what is the answer? B is the answer. No one has answered. December 2021. That's right. What concern does India have regarding Russia's growing dependence on China? Russia's growing dependence on China, what concern does India have? Economic instability? No. Increasing military tensions over the line of actual control mentioned. Potential alliance against India? No. Trade embargoes affecting Indian markets. Editorial talks about because Russia is moving towards China, definitely along line of actual control, more tensions are going to build up. Based on that, answer is B is the answer. Which bilateral issues are scheduled for talks during Modi's visit to Moscow? What are the issues they are going to discuss? Trade and energy relationships, yes. Space cooperation for Gaganyaan, yes. Declining defense supplies and their reliability, yes. Based on that, what is the answer? All of the above. Very good. Before I could turn, I appreciate that. Read the last one. How has India balanced its relations with Russia and the West regarding Ukraine war? By condemning the war at the UN? No, India has not done it. By sending military aid to Ukraine? No. By engaging with both Russia and Western countries? How? Attending summits and sending delegations. It is in touch with the West At the same time, it has been showing its solidarity with Russia. Based on that, answer is not A. C is the answer. C is the answer. By severing ties with Russia, no. That's all for today. And I would like to tell you guys, I'm working on a new format. That's the reason why I haven't been bringing mock questions. 1 or 2 days, you will see a new format that is going to be very useful from competitive exams point of view. Wait for that with your fingers crossed. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.